Hello, everyone, and welcome to Intentional by Shay, the space where small creators and nano influencers come to grow, thrive, and make an impact without losing themselves in the process. I'm Shay, your guide through the world of mindful marketing, authentic growth, and all the real life wins and fails that come with building your brand. Each week, we dive into strategies, stories, and practical tips that help you show up with intention, connect with your audience, and actually enjoy the process along the way. So grab your coffee, your notebook, or just grab a comfy spot on the couch, and let's get intentional. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 6 of Intentional by Shay. Today, we will be doing a deep dive into finding your signature voice and niche. So let's be real for a second. You ever scroll your feed, hear someone talking, and instantly know, yep, that's them again. It's not just what they're saying, but it's how they're saying it. It's the tone, the rhythm, the energy, the you-ness that drips from every word. And that, my friend, that is the power of a signature voice. It's that invisible fingerprint in your content that makes people stop mid-scroll like, hold up, that sounds like Shay. Or wait, I know this creator. And it's not because your graphics are flawless, your captions rhyme, even though we love a clean aesthetic moment, but it's because you've built recognition through realness. It's about uncovering it. Now see, your voice was never missing. It's just buried under all of the noise of what you think you should sound like. The internet has fed us this script. Pick a niche, stick to it, post about it forever, and don't confuse people. Like, okay, Brenda, but what if I'm a full human being with layers, moods, depth, and growth? What if my brand doesn't fit neatly into your 3-pillar grid aesthetic with an ideal client avatar PowerPoint? Finding your voice isn't about shrinking down to fit inside a content box, but it's about expanding into the version of you that can't be mistaken for anyone else. And that's what this whole episode is about today. Because here's the truth. You don't have to have a niche to have clarity. Let me say that one more time. You don't have to have a niche to have clarity. And you don't have to talk about one thing to be known for your thing. Your signature voice, your tone, perspective, and message is your niche. So if you ever felt like, I don't even know what my niche is anymore, or I keep changing directions and I feel like I'm confusing my audience and myself, this episode is for you. So let's get this out of the way. The niche talk online is broken. Everyone says, find your niche, but no one ever tells you that your niche evolves with you. You are not the same person you were when you started. You've grown, you've learned, you've failed, you've healed. So of course your content voice shifts too. That is not inconsistency, that's evolution. So instead of panicking every time your interests change, let's flip the script. What if your niche wasn't something to trap you, but something to translate you? Yeah, you hear that? You don't really look at it from that perspective, right? Because that's not what everybody is teaching you. And what if it wasn't about narrowing your expression, but clarifying your impact? Once again, not everybody talks about that. And that's why we're getting into that today. When I first started creating, I tried on every voice like I was speed dating content strategies. One week I was marketing girl boss, the next week I was a soft life creator, and then the wellness aesthetic storyteller, right? And that literally went into alignment with motherhood, fitness, and mindfulness. None of them fit. It's not because they weren't good enough, but because they weren't me. It wasn't until I stopped trying to sound like everyone else and started speaking how I actually talk. And that is when things started shifting for me. When I stopped editing out my humor, when I stopped toning down my tone, and when I stopped worrying about sounding professional and started sounding present. That last one is what did it for me, because I always wanted to sound professional. I wanted to have clarity, and I never really wanted to put 100% of my full personality forward. However, I found my rhythm through exactly that. Putting my personality forward, being genuine, being authentic, being real, and loving every single moment of it, because that is truly who I am. And I want that for you. Because here's the thing, authenticity isn't a trend, it's a trust builder. And your audience can always feel when you're faking peace for aesthetics. You can't fake your way to long-term connection. You can't algorithm hack your way into community. You can only be your way into it. And your voice, your story, your delivery, your energy is what builds that connection. So grab your notes or say this out loud with me. What am I trying to prove when I water down my voice? Oof, that one stings, right? Because most of us do it without realizing it. We edit out the real stuff because we're afraid it won't fit the feed. But your voice isn't supposed to fit in. It's supposed to stand out. The more you filter yourself for palatability, the harder it becomes to actually connect with the people who are looking for you. Your voice is your filter. Your authenticity is your algorithm. That's your niche. Now let's get practical. There are 3 layers to building your signature voice, and I call them the 3 C's of creator voice clarity. 1, core, your values and beliefs. 2, cadence, your delivery and tone. 3, connection, how your audience receives and relates to you. So let's unpack these like we're sitting at a coffee shop, phones on that table, and brainstorming your whole brand. Let's begin with the core. So your core is your foundation. It is what you believe in, what you stand for, even when the algorithm shifts. It's the heartbeat of your brand, and it's what turns content into conversation. So ask yourself, what am I always talking about, even when I don't plan to? What problems or emotions do I always help my audience navigate? And what do I want people to feel after hearing me speak? Write those down. Those are your brand anchors. That's the version of your niche that can't be copied because no one else lives your experiences the way that you do. Next up is your cadence. This is your delivery. It's how you talk, your rhythm, your tone, your humor, your vibe. Some creators are storytellers. They paint vivid pictures. Some are motivators, quick, punchy, and inspiring. Some are cozy mentors, calm, reassuring, and comforting. You don't have to pick just one. You just have to know yours. Your cadence is your signature flow, the thing people subconsciously attach to your content. It's your laugh mid-story, your listen y'all before dropping a truth bomb, your you ever notice storytelling setups that make people feel seen. So the next time you're scripting or writing a caption, don't think, well, what should I say? Instead, ask, how would I say this to my people if we were sitting right here together? That cadence, and it's magnetic. And lastly, connection. This is your resonance. This is what happens when your voice meets your audience's story. It's not just about engagement. It's about emotional alignment. You can be the most knowledgeable creator online, But if your audience doesn't feel seen, they won't stay. So when you create, think about the person behind the scroll. Ask yourself, what are they feeling right now when they see this post? How can I make them feel understood, not marketed to? And what would I say to help them feel lighter, clearer, or inspired today? Connection doesn't require performance. It requires presence. And that's what your signature voice does best. It bridges your world with theirs. There's this shift that happens when you finally find your voice. You stop chasing consistency and you become consistent by default. You stop comparing because your tone becomes your confidence. And you stop overthinking because you realize your realness is your content strategy. That's the point I want you to reach, where your brand doesn't just look aligned, it feels aligned. Where people recognize your work before they even see your name. And that's your voice in action. Now, here's what I would like you to do for your creator homework. I want you to do this after you listen. I want you to pull up 5 of your favorite posts, the ones that made you most proud. And then I want you to ask, what tone was I using? What emotion was I channeling? And what did my audience respond to the most? And I want you to write one sentence that sums up the energy of your brand. That sentence becomes your signature energy statement. For example, I make creators feel seen while helping them grow authentically. Keep it somewhere visible, your desk, your Notion page, your phone lock screen, because every time you lose clarity, that statement will remind you of who you are. Finding your voice isn't about branding. It's about becoming. And the minute you realize you never had to create your voice, only trust it, that's when the entire game changes. This is the beginning of your voice awakening. Now let's get into this next section, because this is where creators either build a legacy or get lost in the noise. Your message is the soul of your brand. It's what people feel when they experience your content, not just what they read or watch or hear. It's the heartbeat that keeps your brand alive and when the algorithm's being petty. And if you've ever sat down to create content and thought, I don't even know what to say anymore, please understand, you're not broken. You're just disconnected from your message. So let's fix that today. Now let's understand what a message is. A message is what you're saying. And the meaning behind it is why you're saying it. And without meaning, your message will never stick, no matter how pretty the post is. You can post the same tips, trends, or quotes as everyone else, but if your audience doesn't feel something when it comes from you, it gets lost. Your message becomes magnetic when it carries your perspective, your emotion, your humanity, and no one else's. People aren't looking for more content. They're looking for connection that means something. So let's start with this. Every powerful message has 3 layers. 1, purpose, why this matters to you. 2, perspective, why this matters to them. And 3, pulse, how it moves people emotionally. We're going to unpack each one piece by piece so that by the end of this episode, you'll have a message that hits harder, lasts longer, and feels more like you. So let's talk about the why behind your message. Most creators skip this part. They chase trends, follow frameworks, and wonder why nothing clicks or sticks. But your why is what makes people trust you, because it gives context to your content. People don't buy into your niche. They buy into your reason for showing up. So ask yourself this: why does this matter to me? You might be helping creators grow, but why do you care about helping them grow. Maybe it's because you know what it's like to feel unseen. Maybe you've burned out before and want to protect others from the same thing. Maybe your story is your strategy and you're still walking through it in real time, like me. That's your human reason. That's what makes your message breathe. Now, here's what I want you to do later. I want you to write down 3 sentences that finish this prompt. I talk about blank because when you start crafting from why, your content stops feeling forced. It starts feeling true. Now, let's flip the lens. Your audience isn't just consuming your content. They're looking for themselves in it. That's why your perspective matters. Your message should do 2 things. 1, reflect your truth. And 2, resonate with theirs. The sweet spot of your brand lives right in the middle. For example, let's say your topic is creator burnout. Everyone talks about it, right? But what's your angle? Maybe your take is, burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much of what doesn't feel good. Boom. That's your perspective. That's your message. It's simple, it's clear, and it lands. Now, they're not just hearing you, they're feeling seen by you. That's the power of perspective. Now, let's get into the hard part, because your message has to move. The pulse of your message is the emotional current that runs underneath it. You can be informative, but if you're not impactful, it will not stick. Think about your favorite creators, the ones who always hit home. They don't just give advice, they give alignment. They make you nod, reflect, laugh, and sometimes cry a little. That's because their message has a pulse. So here's the question. How do I want my audience to feel when they hear from me? Inspired, grounded, relieved, empowered? Your pulse is the emotional experience that you create. And when that's intentional, you become unforgettable. Now let's get a little strategic, because you know we love a blend of heart and homework. If you want your message to stick, it has to pass the vibe test. So write this down. VIBE. It stands for visible, intentional, believable, and emotional. Let's break it down. V for visible. Your message should show up clearly across all your content. When someone lands on your page, they should feel what you stand for without needing to scroll. Ask yourself this. Would someone new understand what I care about within 10 seconds of seeing my content? If not, clarify your message pillars. I for intentional. You don't need to post every idea you have. You need to post the ones that align with your long-term purpose. Each post should answer, what is this teaching, inspiring, or reminding my audience of? No filler, no fluff, just intentional storytelling. Be believable. Be believable. Your message has to match your actions. Authenticity is consistency between what you say and what you do. If you're preaching rest but posting 24/7, your audience can feel the disconnect. Keep your message aligned with your lifestyle, not your optics. And emotional. Finally, make people feel something. You can teach and entertain, but if you don't connect emotionally, your message won't live rent-free in their minds. When your message passes the vibe test, it becomes unforgettable. That's what separates the seen from the remembered ones. And if you're listening right now, open your notes app or grab your journal. Let's do a quick alignment check. Now write down your answers to these 3 prompts. 1. What is my core message right now? Not what you post about, but what you stand for. 2. What do I want people to say about me when I'm not in the room? And 3. What feeling do I want to leave my audience with after every interaction? This isn't just journaling, this is clarity work. Because when you know your message, your marketing becomes magnetism. You stop forcing engagement because connection becomes effortless. Now here's something I had to unlearn myself. Just because someone else talks about the same topic doesn't mean they have your message. You could both talk about authentic growth, but your delivery, your humor, your emotion, your why, that's what makes it yours. There's no competition when you're in your own lane. There's only clarity, and clarity cuts through everything. So if you've ever found yourself scrolling and thinking, they already said it, remind yourself of this. They said their version. Now it's time for yours. Because there's a version of your audience that will only listen when it comes to you. Now that we've unpacked the soul side, let's get tactical again. Your brand needs message pillars, which is 3 to 5 repeatable themes that carry your story and keep your content cohesive. Think of them as your North Stars, your creative direction points. And here's how you build them. 1. Your theme, the category or focus. For example, authentic marketing, creator wellness, storytelling. 2. Mission, why it matters. For example, helping small creators grow sustainably, not through burnout. And 3. Emotion, the feeling it evokes. For example, calm, confidence, clarity, motivation. When you know your pillars, you'll never feel off-brand again because everything you create will connect back to your foundation. So let's zoom out for a second. You don't need to sound like anyone else to be effective. You don't need to shrink your message to fit the market. You don't need to have a perfect niche to build community. You just need to speak with honesty, clarity, and conviction. That's what makes your message stick. Because the truth is, your voice is already your marketing strategy. You just have to trust it enough to use it. So the next time you sit down, ask yourself, am I speaking to impress or to impact? Because when you focus on impact, your voice becomes legacy. Let me start this next section with a confession. Most creators say they want growth, but what they really want is connection. They want people who don't just scroll past, they stop, they comment, they stay. They want people who don't just like the content. They want people that believe in the message. They want people who feel like this creator just gets me. That's not audience. That's community. And here's the thing. You don't build community through content. You build it through conversation. Your content is just the invitation. Your voice, your energy, your vibe, your truth is what makes people stay. But only authenticity can build you a community. Let that sink in for a second. Anyone can attract attention, but not everyone can create connection. Because connection takes presence. It takes showing up as a human being, not a highlight reel. And when you've spent years fighting to grow, it can feel weird to slow down and say, wait, maybe I don't need more followers. Maybe I just need deeper ones. But that's where your true power as a small creator lives. You're not just trying to go viral. You're trying to build resonance. You're not just chasing masses, you're cultivating meaning. So let's strip the word down to what it actually means. Community isn't just people who follow you. It's people who feel seen by you and who see themselves in you. It's the space between your content and theirs live, the invisible thread that ties them to your energy. Your community is the heartbeat of your brand. It's the people who DM you after listening to your podcast, watching your videos, or even reading your deeply thought out caption saying, "Girl, I felt that." It's the ones who tag you when they implement something you've taught. It's the quiet lurkers who've never commented, but have been watching you grow and feel inspired to start something of their own. That's community. It's trust built over time. It's consistency built through care. And it all starts with your voice. So let's be real. You can't force community. You can't schedule it into your content calendar like engage with followers from 2 to 2:30 p.m. I know I have. Because connection doesn't come from effort. It comes from energy. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be present where you are. And that's how you start building genuine connection online. So instead of trying to engage more, try this. Show up with curiosity. Respond to comments like you're starting a conversation, not finishing one. Add energy, not just an emoji. That's all we see so much in the comment sections. Emoji after emoji. But how about you add a genuine comment? Replace the emoji with, "I love how you put that. How's your journey been with this?" Ask a question to engage in conversation. Don't post and ghost. Stick around for the replies. Be part of your own conversation. That's the kind of small shift that creates big loyalty. Because people can tell the difference between posting for engagement and actually engaging. The reason your audience keeps coming back isn't because your content's perfect. It's because it feels safe. You're familiar. You're steady. You're someone who shows up with realness in a space that can often feel chaotic and fake. That's what I call safe familiarity. When your community knows your energy before you even post, it's the feeling of, "Oh, Shay's live? Let me grab my tea. Oh, she dropped a new post? I know it's about to speak to my soul." The kind of loyalty comes from one thing: emotional predictability. Your audience should know what to expect from your energy, not your content plan. They don't need every post to be groundbreaking. They just need every post to feel like you. So let's be real. Social media is full of creators talking at people, lecturing, selling, and preaching. But the best creators, the one who build community, they talk with people. Their content feels like a conversation, not a performance. You can do this in small ways. Ask more open-ended questions in your captions. Share personal reflections, then invite your followers to share theirs. Reply publicly to DMs that hold value for others with permission. And create we moments, not you should moments. The more you blur the line between creator and community, the stronger your connection becomes. Your brand shouldn't feel like a lecture at all. It should feel like a group chat that happens to have amazing production quality. Here's a secret about community building. People stay when they feel like they belong to something. It's not about being a fan. It's about being part of a collective energy. Think about it. We remember communities that have an identity. Beyonce has the Beehive. Taylor Swift has the Swifties. But even small creators have that. just in their own language. For example, maybe your community becomes known as the Intentional Creators, or the Small But Mighty Club, or the Grow with Grace Gang. Whatever it is, it becomes your ecosystem, your corner of the internet. When people feel like they belong to something bigger than your content, your brand stops being a feed and it becomes a feeling. Now listen, this one's delicate because there's a fine line between authenticity and accessibility. You don't need to be everyone's best friend, but you can make people feel like you see them. You can share behind the scene moments that humanize you without oversharing your privacy. You can reply to comments with warmth without feeling guilty for missing one. You can show care without carrying. Boundaries are what keep communities sustainable. Your voice is powerful, but it's not supposed to carry everyone's emotional load. You're a mirror, not a therapist. So when you're creating content for your community, check your intention. Are you posting to connect or to compensate? If it's the latter, let's pause for a moment. You can't pour from burnout and expect belonging. This is one of the most underrated ways to build community. Co-creation. People want to feel involved, not just informed. You can do this easily by asking your audience to vote on your next podcast topic, letting them help you name your newsletter or product, featuring their comments, stories, or feedback in your content, and sharing community milestones like, we just hit 1K. Look how far we've come. When you bring your audience into your growth, they take ownership of your journey. And that's how you turn passive consumers into active participants. Every strong community is built on shared values, not just shared interests. If you look at your favorite online spaces, they all have one thing in common: a uniting principle. For Intentional by Shay, that value might sound like, we grow with purpose, not pressure. Simple, but powerful. It's not a slogan, it's a mirror. Because the right people will see that and go, that's what I've been craving. Your values become your brand's vibe. They silently filter your audience, attracting people who align and repelling people who don't. That's not exclusion, that's alignment. And alignment is what keeps your community peaceful and connected, even as it grows. So let's do a quick journal or note check-in. I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, what values do my community already reflect, even if I've never written them down? 2, how do I want people to describe our space when they talk about it? And 3, what kind of energy do I want people to feel when they interact with me? These answers are your community blueprint. Everything else, your captions, your colors, your content, just reinforces it. Your voice isn't just how people hear you. It's how they gather around you. When you speak authentically, you don't have to beg for engagement. Your people find you, they stay, they grow with you. That's the shift from audience to alignment, from followers to family, from content creator to community builder. And that's the future of influence. Real people, real trust, real connection. So the next time you post, don't just ask, will this perform? Ask, will this build belonging? Because your metrics might measure growth, but your community measures your impact. Now let's start with the most unspoken truth in the creator world. Everyone wants to make money from their content, but no one wants to say it out loud. We whisper it like it's taboo. Well, we'll say, I just want to inspire people, or I'm doing this for fun. But let's be real, love. Inspiration doesn't pay for the Canva Pro, okay? And there's nothing wrong with wanting your creativity to be compensated. There's nothing wrong with building something sustainable. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want my passion to pay me back. But here's where it gets tricky. Because once money enters the chat, so does pressure. Suddenly, you start questioning, can I still be authentic and make money? How do I sell without sounding salesy? Can I partner with brands without selling my soul? And the answer is yes, if you understand the art of authentic monetization. So let's unpack this together. People love to throw the term sellout around, but let's clarify something. You're not a sellout for wanting to make a living from your art. You're a sellout when you sell out of integrity. When your offers or partnerships start contradicting your message, when your energy becomes transactional instead of transformational, and when you start creating for the check, not for the change, that's when authenticity starts to leak out of your brand. But when your income is rooted in your values, when your products, offers, and collaborations are extensions of your mission, that's not selling out. That's alignment paying dividends. Before we jump into brand deals, digital products, or courses, you have to ask, what part of my brand is ready to make money? Because not every part of your content is meant to be monetized, and that's okay. Maybe your storytelling builds trust. Maybe your podcast builds credibility. Maybe your free resources build connection, but your paid offers, those should build transformation. There's a difference between being known for something and being paid for something. So start by identifying your value anchors, the things you do effortlessly that bring people clarity, results, or relief. Ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, what do people always thank me for? 2, what do people come to me for advice on? And 3, what feels easy for me but valuable for others? Those are your monetization cues. Here's where most creators mess up. They start creating offers that look like what everyone else is selling. They launch ebooks because everyone's doing it. They start coaching because it's trendy. They build courses that sound like recycled Pinterest advice. And then they wonder why nobody's buying. It's not that their offer isn't good. It just doesn't sound like them. You can't sell something that doesn't speak your language. Your offers should sound like your voice, familiar, clean, human, and rooted in the message your community already trusts. Let's say your brand voice is calm and grounded. Don't write sales copy like an infomercial. If your voice is witty and relatable, don't suddenly go corporate because you're charging money. Keep that same energy. Keep it consistent. The same voice that earned their trust will earn their transaction. Now let's talk about brand partnerships because, this is where the temptation hits. You finally start gaining some traction. Brands start sliding into your inbox, and that little voice goes, finally, I made it. And listen, celebrate that. Because those opportunities means your voice matters. But before you say yes to every bag, I want you to pause and ask, does this align with my message? Would I use this even if I wasn't paid? And does this brand align with the values my audience trusts me for? Because the quickest way to lose credibility is to say yes to what doesn't fit. Here's your rule of thumb. If the partnership makes your audience raise an eyebrow, it's a no from me, dog. If it makes them say, that's so you, then of course it's a yes. Your audience doesn't need you to say yes to everything. They need to trust that your yes means something. So here's the truth I wish someone told me earlier. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for how you help. Information is free now. Transformation is what people invest in. That's why free value and paid value serve different purposes. Free value builds trust. Paid value builds transformation. Free content shows people what's possible with you, and your paid offer helps them actually get there. And the beautiful part, when you show up authentically in your free content, your community naturally transitions into your paid offers. Why? Because they already trust your voice. So stop thinking you need to be pushy to sell. You just need to be clear about the difference between free and paid. Now, I know you felt it, that little guilt that hits when you finally start charging. You'll say things like, but I don't want to make it all about money. I don't want people to think I've changed. But here's the truth. Money doesn't change your message. It expands your mission. The more stable you are financially, the more you can create from peace and not from pressure. You're not taking from your audience when you monetize. You're giving them more access, depth, and transformation. You're showing them what sustainable creativity looks like. Because being broke for the sake of being authentic isn't noble. It's unsustainable. And burnout doesn't serve your audience either. You deserve to be supported while you support others. Now let's break this down strategically. You don't need 10 offers, but you do need a system that supports your audience through different stages of growth. I call it your aligned offer ecosystem. It's made up of 3 layers. 1, your awareness offers. These are your free offers. For example, these will be your podcast, your blog posts, your newsletters, or your YouTube videos. These build trust and attract aligned followers. 2, your engagement offers. These are your low-cost offers. For example, these are your mini courses, your templates, your ebooks, or your memberships. These help your audience implement and test your frameworks to see how it works for them. And number 3, your transformation offers. These are your premium offers. For examples, coaching, workshops, one-on-one strategy, and brand collabs. These deliver the deepest results and create loyal clients for life. When your ecosystem flows, your audience never feels sold to. They feel guided. That's how you monetize authentically, through service, not sales tactics. Let's talk about the part no one glamorizes: slow growth. The growth that I'm on. Monetizing authentically isn't an overnight thing. It's the slow burn, the long game, the building of credibility. One post, one product, one person at a time. You're not behind. You're building something sustainable. Fast money, quick money fades, but aligned money compounds. Every no is just making space for a yes that fits your brand's future. So don't rush the process. You're not here to chase. You're here to cultivate. So let's slow it down for a quick soul check. Here's some questions I want you to ask yourself at this time. 1, am I building income that aligns with my impact? 2, would my audience still trust me if they saw all my collaborations behind the scenes? And 3, what would monetization look like if it was an extension of my purpose and not a distraction from it? I want you to sit with that, because when you build from alignment, every dollar you earn carries peace, not pressure. Authentic monetization isn't just a business strategy. It's an energetic decision. It's saying, I'm not here to convince people to buy. I'm here to create something that aligns so deeply it sells itself. It's saying, I can make money and still keep my message pure. It says, I can grow my bank account without losing my brand soul. That's how you build wealth that feels good, not just looks good. Because when your income is in alignment, your impact becomes inevitable. So go ahead. Let your voice be valuable. Let your authenticity be abundant. Let your art be both soulful and sustainable, because you deserve that balance, and your audience deserves to see what intentional success really looks like. Take a breath with me for a second. No, really. Pause. We're going to inhale and exhale. You've just journeyed through a whole episode about finding your voice, defining your niche, and showing up as your fullest, most unapologetic self. Let that sink in, because you didn't just listen, you reflected. You didn't just absorb, you applied. And that's the difference between information and transformation. We've talked about how your voice isn't something you create, it's something you uncover. We tackled that messy middle between consistency and creativity, where your identity evolves, but your energy stays steady. We grounded your visuals, your message, your vibe, and then we got real about building community and earning income without selling your soul. That's not just strategy, that's soul work. Because building your brand voice isn't about marketing, it's about mastery of self. It's about knowing who you are well enough to stand tall when trends shift, algorithms change, and everyone else is yelling, post more, when you're whispering, I'm building better. That's what makes your brand sustainable. That's what makes your voice timeless. I know what it feels like to be in that middle ground, too established to be new, but still growing enough to still feel unseen. You're posting, showing up, trying to keep your content fresh while your energy's low, wondering, does anyone even care anymore? The answer is yes, they do. But you have to care first. You have to care enough about your own peace to protect it. You have to care enough about your craft to keep evolving it. You have to care enough about your community to grow with them and not at them. Because no matter how crowded this creator space gets, authenticity will always cut through. Here's what I know about you if you're listening to this right now. You're not just chasing visibility, you're building longevity. You're in your refinement area, and that's okay because I am too. That's the season where you're not chasing trends or followers, but you're curating alignment, where you care less about being next up and more about being built to last. That's the shift from hustling to harvesting, from chasing to choosing, from overdoing to owning. And that's the energy that will carry your brand through every situation. So don't rush it. Don't compare your timeline to anyone else's. You're not behind. You're being refined. Before we step into the next episode, I want to leave you with a grounding practice. Something you can come back to whenever you start to feel lost or disconnected from your voice. It's called the voice check-in. I want you to take 5 minutes, write or say out loud. 1. What am I trying to prove right now that I could just embody instead? 2. What feels loud in my life and what needs silence? And 3. Where do I feel most like myself when I create? The answers will always guide you back to your authenticity, because your brand's voice will only ever be as strong as your self-awareness. Let's get deep for a second. Building your brand voice is a spiritual process disguised as marketing. It's not about mastering your niche. It's about mastering your narrative. It's not about chasing engagement. It's about deepening connection. It's not about creating content. It's about creating impact. And every time you post something that feels true, you build a bridge between your world and someone else's. Every time you speak honestly, you give permission for someone else to do the same. That's leadership. And that's what being an intentional creator is all about. And something that I truly stand by and believe in. Because it's still there, right? That little whisper that says, what if I'm not good enough yet? What if I lose momentum? What if no one listens? But let me tell you something. Every creator you reminder still feels that way too. The difference? They move with that fear, not around it. They stopped waiting to feel ready. They started trusting that their message was enough. And so are you. You don't need permission to pivot. You don't need validation to speak. And you don't need perfection to make impact. You just need your presence. Because your voice is already powerful enough. It's just waiting for you to use it consistently, courageously, and intentionally. Now let's set the stage for what's coming next. We've spent this episode building your voice, the foundation, the frequency, the soul of your brand. But next, we're going to shift into your vision. Because having a strong voice means nothing if you don't know where you're leading people. Your vision is the direction your voice carries. It's what transforms you from just another creator into a brand with purpose. And we're going to dive into that in the next episode. Episode 7, The Creator Reset, Finding Balance in the Chaos. Because what is good growth if you're exhausted? What good is visibility if you're overwhelmed? What good is creativity if you're disconnected from joy? We're going to reset all that. We're going to talk about balance, not the fake kind, but the real, messy, beautifully human kind. That kind, the kind that keeps you consistent without being consumed. The kind that keeps your creativity alive while still protecting your peace. The kind that lets you thrive and rest. Before we close, I want you to repeat this out loud. Yes, out loud, okay? My voice is enough. My story is valuable. And my growth doesn't have to look rushed to be real. Because this journey you're on, it's not just about becoming a creator with a message. It's about becoming a messenger with meaning. And that, my friend, is very rare. So keep speaking even when it feels quiet. Keep showing up even when it feels slow. Keep trusting even when it feels uncertain. Because the world doesn't need another loud voice. Next week on Intentional by Shay, we're doing a full creator reset. We're talking about burnout recovery, sustainable structure, and the honest truth about balancing creativity with real life. It's not a productivity episode. It's a peace episode. And you won't want to miss it. And that's it, my friend. Take a deep breath. Celebrate yourself. Because episode 6, you didn't just build a voice. You built momentum.